Now lining up now for the first period, and Jim, I think we should point out that we cannot, from our advantage point, hear the public address system, and if we inadvertently come on while it's in progress, why, we'll hope that the fans across the country will excuse us.
And, Bill, I noticed that Doug Barkley isn't on the bench. He warmed up, but obviously he isn't in fit condition to play, and he's gone back to the dressing room.
All right, all set to start now this first period, and from the draw with Esposito, Chico Mackey, and Bobby Hull. Basco and Palat. It's Elmer Basco to center ice, and he puts the puck back into the Detroit zone, and going back forward is Gordie Howe, number 9. Howe starting out. A pass to Marcel Pronovo over to Bill Gadsby. A pass for Howe, broken up. Red Stanfield is on the ice now, along with Hay and Nestorenko as they change on the goal. A planned move by the Blackhawks, apparently. It's cleared into the Detroit zone, and there is Marcel Pronovo carrying it to Del Vecchio. Alex Del Vecchio turning at his own blue line. A long pass goes down the ice. Glenn Hall clearing it to the corner, and Bill Hayes back there for it. Hay coming out. He ran into Nestorenko. Howe. A pass to Patrick McDonald. Over for Howe, and it's broken up by Fred Stanfield. He cleared it, but not out. Marcel Pronovo shoots. And that's wide. It's right in front of the net. It's paid off to the side. Here, Palat. A foot pass. Stanfield and Nestorenko going to center ice. Over to Nestorenko. Cutting in, and he's checked by Marcel Pronovo. Stopped by Stanfield, and he shot it to the wing. Warren Godfrey, number 23, to Marcel Pronovo, number 3. Pronovo back to Godfrey. Godfrey coming up himself to his own blue line. With Packer McDonald at center, he puts it in. Glenn Hall knocks it off to the wing. Shot off the glass, around into the corner. Gordie Howe centering it back. Picked off by Stanfield. Nestorenko and Hay with him. Over to Nestorenko on the right wing. He shot it through. Crozier steering it into the corner. It's cleared right to Hay. Hay trying to center it. Covered by Howe. Nestorenko trying to dig it out. It's against the boards with Bob Dillabo. And Hay mixing it up at the mesh behind Roger Crozier, and they held it long enough for a face-off. The referee is Arndt Skove, number 4. The linesmen are Matt Pavlich, number 7, and John D'Amico, number 24. Coming up to the 2-minute mark of the first period in 8 seconds, and there's no score in the game. The puck is loose in front of the Detroit net. It's shot to Bergman, number 18, to Floyd Smith, 17. He's turned around by Doug Moens, number 2 of Chicago. It's against the boards, and they hold it there. In the Detroit zone to the right. Lining up in the Detroit zone to the right of Roger Crozier. Stan Mikita, 21. Kenny Warren is 17. Doug Moens is number 2. Matt Ravlich and Al McNeil. It comes back to Al McNeil, number 19. A shot. Crozier grabs it with his glove and holds on to it. Normie Elman, number 7, at center ice for Detroit. Floyd Smith, number 17, on the right wing. Bob Dillabo, number 24, on the left. It comes back to Doug Moens. His shot is high and wide. It goes to the far wing. Stan Mikita's covered. Elman can't get away. Gets a hold of it. Checked by Mikita. Then Bergman tries his luck to pass to Smith. Shot it to Ravlich of Chicago off the board. Picked up by Bill Gadsby. A long shot is wide. Warham clearing around on the board for Moen. Clears it down the ice, and Gary Bergman's there, number 18. A pass over to Dillabo. Gets away from Warham. Pass to Allman over the blue line. Allman is checked by Moen. For Stan Mikita over to Kenny Warham. One man back. Ravlich catching up with him. Back to Ravlich. He shoots, and he shot it high. Bob Dillabo. Checked by Moen. Gary Bergman of Detroit clears it down the ice as Warham went down along the boards, and that's icing against Detroit. And we're at the 3-8 mark of the first period. No score, Jim.
And, Bill, Chicago is forechecking them to death in this first 3 minutes and a few seconds. They're keeping the puck in the Detroit area. It was quite noticeable that Detroit desperately had to ice that puck just to take off the pressure.
It's Esposito, Chico Mackey, Bobby Hull. And for Detroit, Bruce McGregor, number 16. All ready to go. Murray Hall, number 25 out there. And Ted Lindsay. And from the face-off, Bobby Hull trying to get a shot. Vasco knocking in offside. Murray Hall at center ice, number 25, with Lindsay on the left wing and McGregor on the right for Detroit, with along the board. Picked up by Murray Hall, a long pass for Lindsay, stopped by Chico Mackey, number 16. Tipping it to Elmer Vasco, turns ahead to Esposito. He's checked by Lindsay. Bobby Hull is back for it. Getting away from Murray Hall. Hit by Marcel Pronovo. Pierre Palat moves up. Shoots the puck into the Detroit zone. Lindsay back for it. He and Esposito bump together. Chico Mackey goes to the corner. With Marcel Pronovo, Murray Hall is bumped by Hall. Hull went down, and they hold the puck against the board. Murray Hall and Bobby Hull. Coming up to the 4-minute mark in 3 seconds of this first period, there's no score. Fontaine, number 11 now with Henderson. And Eddie Joyelle for Detroit. And it's Sam Makita, number 21, Doug Moans, and Kenny Warham on the wing. All set to go. The puck is dropped. Warham passes it back for Palat. The shot is wide. It ends up behind the net. Moans to Makita. Stopped by Rozier. It came out in front. It pokes ahead to Fontaine. Fontaine to Joyelle. Too far. Vasco for Moans, back to Vasco, a foot pass to Warham. Over the line, Moans went down. Al Langlois playing on the defense, number 2, stopped by Moans. Moans centered it, Warham was too well covered. Dan Makita right in front, Moans couldn't get it. Vasco lets his shot go, knocked down by Gadsby. To Henderson. Henderson starting out, over the blue line to center ice. A long shot is deflected by Glenn Hall up into the crowd. Bob Dillabo, Normie Elman, and Floyd Smith. Warren Godfrey and Marcel Pronovo for Detroit. Chicago Blackhawks, that's Sam Makita. Now then Esposito, Bobby Hull, Chico Mackey come out. Al McNeil and Ravlich on the defense. Yes, Jim?
This first goal is going to mean a great deal, I think, tonight, Bill. We always talk about the first goal in playoff games, but this is much more important than usual.
Another line change for Detroit. This has to be the last one. And it's Murray Hall, number 25 at center ice, with Ted Lindsay, number 15. Bruce McGregor, number 16. And we're all set to go. From the face-off, it comes over here to Esposito. Esposito flipping it out past Godfrey, but Marcel Pronovo's there, and he shoots it right back in again. Al McNeil, number 19, behind the net. Paid by Hall back to Marcel Pronovo. Shot. Shot. And Hall missed the rebound. And it comes over here to Godfrey, right in front, and it goes back to Bobby Hull. Up the center, Murray Hall checked him. Bruce McGregor given a shot by Bobby Hull. Esposito takes a long shot. Crozier stopping it, steering it into the corner. Ted Lindsay shooting it off the board. Stopped by Chico Mackey. A shot for Bobby Hull. Esposito goes to the board. Tried to center it. Shot it behind the net into the other side. Matt Ravlich kept it in. Murray Hall shoots it out. Goes down the ice. Al McNeil's there for it, number 19. He cleared it ahead. Stopped by Godfrey Detroit. A pass to Hall over the line, and Esposito breaks it up. Chico Mackey unable to get through. Now then Al McNeil will try his luck. A long shot. Into the corner, behind the net, to the far side. Esposito passing it all the way back to center ice. Al McNeil shooting it off the boards. Marcel Pronovo to Bob Dillabo. Hamlet fell down. Now he collided with his teammate Nestorenko. Then Normie Elman takes the shot. Glenn Hall stopped it. Al McNeil for Nestorenko, too hard. Alman, number 7. Jack Stanfield over the line, trying to get the shot away, and he's too well covered. Bob Dillabo back, number 24. He's behind the Detroit net. Now he passes to Bill Gadsby. Ahead to Alman. Ahead to Smith on the right side to Dillabo on the left. Dillabo closing in. Got it. And that just deflected off that short side. Back up for Pierre Palat. Knocked it over the line, a delayed whistle, but Gadsby brings it back. He's out over the blue line. Quick pass for Alman. He's knocked down. Going to be a penalty there. Nestorenko and Bergman now. Nestorenko gets the first penalty of the game.
Chicago penalty. Nestorenko, 2 minutes for cross-checking. The time, 6 minutes, 55 seconds.
Nestorenko for cross-checking at 6:55. Face-off will be in the Chicago zone to the right. They're short-handed. Detroit with a man advantage. Gordie Howe, Ullman, Smith, Hiker McDonald and Del Vecchio. A pass to Gordie Howe. He takes his shot. It's right in front of the net. Ullman shoots the goal. Now let's look at a replay of that goal.
That one didn't take very long. Nestorenko had just gone into the penalty box. The first face-off, Billy Ray sent out Bobby Hull, shooting the works to try to get the draw. He was beaten to the draw. It came over in front of the net to where Gordie Howe was tied up, couldn't take a move on it. I don't know if you can hear me above that roar, but while the Chicago defense was attempting to look after Howe, Normie Ullman got loose and just slipped it into the net. Glenn Hall didn't have a chance on it at all.
Well, Jim, it was Ullman from Smith and Howe at 7:04. 1-0 Detroit. At the 7:04 mark of this first period. Scored with Nestorenko serving a cross-checking penalty at 6:55. Ullman over the line with Smith. Ullman was hit hard. Cleared out. Akita shot it back into his own zone, and Pierre Palat is there. Over to Vasco. He's checked by Smith. Trying to center it. Vasco. With Ullman getting in ahead of him. Hooking it loose. Langlois lost at the moon. Up for Sam Makita on the right side. Goes to the corner. Centered it right across the goal mouth. Lloyd Smith. Getting it out to center ice. Bones breaks it up. Over to Palat. Makita went after it as well. Gets a hold of it. Shoots it into the corner. Worm didn't see it. Play is called, and there's going to be a penalty here. We have double penalties, Makita and Langlois. I believe it'll be high sticking and slashing. We'll wait and see.
Chicago penalty, Makita, 2 minutes for slashing. Detroit penalty, Langlois, 2 minutes for high sticking. The time, 7 minutes, 51 seconds.
7:51 it was. Nikita for slashing and Langlois for high sticking. So now we have the team playing five-a-side, and the puck goes out over the blue line. Vasco gives it to Palat. He turns, gets away from Howe. He ran into Marcel Pronovo, and Gordie Howe gets a hold of it. Back to Del Vecchio, and he just barely get loose. Whacked into the crowd, and we'll have a face-off outside the Detroit blue line. Del Vecchio, number 10. Howe, number 9. Pronovo and Warren Godfrey. Chico Mackey, 16, Chicago. Bobby Hull is number 9, and Pierre Palat, 3, Vasco, 4. Pass over to Elmer Vasco. Vasco, a long shot into the corner. Rebound came to Marcel Pronovo. Pronovo behind the Detroit net. Over to the left side, a pass to Howe. Now coming up at center ice with Del Vecchio. Howe gets over the line. Kicks it to Del Vecchio. His shot, when Hall stops it. Bobby Hull. He's knocked down by Del Vecchio, and there's going to be a penalty to Del Vecchio for dumping Bobby Hull. Alex Del Vecchio going to the penalty box.
Del Vecchio, 2 minutes for holding. The time, 8 minutes, 35 seconds.
8:35, a holding penalty to Del Vecchio gives the Blackhawks the man advantage now. 5 men to 4. Gordie Howe wags the puck. Being watched by Chico Mackey. Bobby Hull tries to take it away from him. Howe still has it, gets it back to Gadsby. Gadsby over to Marcel Pronovo. Up for Howe. Howe brought it back into the Detroit zone, then comes back up. Still has it. Hit by Hay, and Chico Mackey has it. With Pierre Palat. Marcel Pronovo shoots it down the ice. Going back forward is Hay. Still Hay coming down the ice with Bobby Hull on his left. They're over the Detroit line. A drop pass to Bobby Hull, but it's offside.
Bill, hockey's two greatest stars, Hull and Hull, are certainly going to get a workout tonight. It's obvious that they're being put on the ice in every crisis, whether their team has an advantage or whether they're at a disadvantage. Those two men are out there all the time.
Hey, Jim, in front of the face-off. They're down the ice by Detroit. Here Palat of Chicago coming back down the ice. At his own blue line, the center ice. Warren on his right, over the line. A pass for Warren, but it's offside. Langlois and Del Vecchio in the penalty box, along with Makita. Chicago have a man advantage, 5 men to 4. On the face-off, it goes into the corner. Warren goes after it with Marcel Pronovo. Ullman digs it out, shoots it down the ice. Going back for it is Hay. Bill Hay turns as Langlois gets back on the ice, and so is Makita. Hay over the line. Tries to go around to the fence. Still has it. Tried to center it. Makita follows up, and he's got it wide. Ullman giving a shove. Bobby Hull turns. Over the line. Outside. Makita and Warren.
Over-eagerness has cost Chicago at least 3 shots in the net in this last 2 minutes when they've had that advantage.
1-0 Detroit at the 10-11 mark of this first period. Makita, Moans, and Warren, Radlich, and Hayes. Fontaine, McGregor, Godfrey, and Gadsby. For Detroit. Del Vecchio in the penalty box. Gadsby talking to Sid Abel at the Detroit bench. Gadsby and Marcel Pronovo. Godfrey being replaced. On the face-off, back to Ravlich. Ravlich turns. Passed it over to Hay. Bill Hay at center. A long shot into the corner. Warham went after it, knocked it down with his glove. Tried to center it. Makita to Warham. Centering it out in front. Ravlich shot it into the board. It's centered right in front. Makita shoots. Moles takes a whack at it. It's picked off by McGregor. Del Vecchio on the ice. A pass for Del Vecchio. He's over the line, closing in. Took his shot. That was stopped. Fontaine a shot. McGregor a shot. And Moles plays it, but not out. McGregor another side. Hay got in front of it. Kept in by Del Vecchio. Over to Fontaine a shot. Hay by Hay to Makita. Over to Moles. A long shot is wide. Fontaine behind the net. He's checked. Makita hits the side of the goal. And now it's Fontaine coming back. A pass up for Henderson. Stopped by Ravlich. For Bobby Hull and Nestorenko, and it's knocked out on the far wing. Ravlich gets it at center ice and shoots it in. Delayed whistle. Finally called as Gadsby made no move to come out of his own zone.
Little Bruce McGregor came sneaking in to steal that puck from in front of his own net when it seemed virtually impossible that Chicago was going to miss getting a goal, Bill. They had so many men piled around there, and the puck was flying around.
Elman from Smith and Howe at 7:04. The only scoring play is Detroit is leading 1-0 in this first period with 8 minutes and 30 seconds remaining to play. Up the ice now for Al McNeil. Got it over the line. Now Fontaine back. Got it behind the Detroit net. Gary Bergman on the left wing. He shoots it out to center ice. Bobby Hull is there. Oh, watched by Joyelle. A pass down McNeil. McNeil lost it. Joyelle centers it back. Bergman is checked. Esposito going over the line. Closing in. Takes his shot and Crozier caught it. Harry Bergman. A pass to Fontaine. Up to Henderson. At center. A long shot is wide. Van Hall out of the net. Clears it for Al McNeil. Here he comes down the ice with Esposito, Bobby Hull, and Chico Mackey. Al McNeil to Bobby Hull. A shot. And oh, that one hit Crozier right on the shoulder.
That's a lucky thing it hit him on the shoulder. If it had hit him on the head, it would have taken the head right into the stand.
That one was going 100 miles an hour.
I think they're counting his ears, Bill, after that shot.
Not too sure what type of padding they have there, Jim. I think it's fiber.
Anything less than bulletproof steel is crazy.
Score is 1-0 in favor of the Detroit Red Wings. Roger Crozier is still shaking out the left shoulder. Lefty Wilson is working on it, as you can see. He's the trainer for the Red Wings.
Crozier could be forgiven for walking right out of the rink at this point after that shot. The man doesn't have too many narrow escapes from death, and that was one.
And they are working on that shoulder. And Makita talking to referee Aaron Scholes. The linesman are Matt Pavlich, number 7, John D'Amico, number 24. We've had 4 penalties so far, 2 apiece. Crozier going back.
Boy, he wins the George Medal for that.
Well, it's been his sparkling play that put the Red Wings where they are. Face-off will be in the Detroit zone to the left. Del Vecchio, Parker McDonald, Gordie Howe, Al Langlois, and Bill Gadsby for the Red Wings. The Blackhawks have Nestorenko, Fred Stanfield, and Bill Hay, along with Pierre Palat and Elmer Vasco. Hawks in their white uniforms. All ready to go, the face-off. Del Vecchio clears it to Langlois. Back to Bill Gadsby, number 4. To Langlois. Langlois clears it to Gordie Howe. Howe trying to get it out. Stanfield back to Hay. Hay took a shot to the far wing. Nestorenko came cruising in. The puck goes high and ends up in the crowd. There's 7 minutes and 18 seconds remaining in this first period. 1-0 Detroit. Stanfield facing off with Del Vecchio. He goes back to Langlois. Now Langlois starting to move out for the Red Wings. Coming up with a pass to Del Vecchio. Shot by Vasco. Again by Vasco, but Gordie Howe covers up. Howe comes down the ice over the line to Del Vecchio. Took his shot. Gordie Howe rolls it, and Del Vecchio cut in front, but couldn't get a stick on it. Here, Palat, Eric Nestorenko. Up to Stanfield. Hiker McDonald came back to pick up the loose puck. Hiker McDonald turns with a pass to Gadsby. Over for Howe. And it's broken up by Nestorenko. Hit Pierre Palat. Pierre Palat goes down the right side. He ran into Langlois. Alex Del Vecchio, a pass to Gadsby. To Howe. Knocked down by Hay. Played in wide of Glenn Hall. Here Palat. Nestorenko, and Howe is there. He gets it to Vasco. Elmer Vasco clearing it off the glass, but not out. He's hit by Howe. Stanfield coming up. He's caught with a high stick, and there's going to be a penalty there to Gordie Howe for high sticking.
Bill, that young Stanfield, incidentally, his play has been one of the bright spots for Chicago during the series. You may remember that he got appendicitis about a month ago, 5 weeks ago, had it removed. I guess the loss of weight has helped, and he's certainly skating in this series. He's one of the fastest men on the ice.
Detroit penalty. Howe, 2 minutes for hooking. The time, 13 minutes, 50 seconds.
High sticking at 13:50 to Gordie Howe and Billy Ray at the Chicago bench.
Bill, let's take us back to the incident in the second game where Vasco was high sticked by Howe and bled, but didn't bother to bring up the referee's attention. Just very shortly after Bobby Hull high-sticked one of the Detroit men and drew blood, and Hull was given a major.
Well, apparently he didn't draw blood because there's actually a minor penalty. Now then, the referee is going over again.
Of course, the referee has to decide the degree of intent, and in this case, Howe obviously was trying to get the Stanfield stick off the puck, and his own stick just followed through. He wasn't charging or anything of that kind.
Chicago have a man advantage. Puck is dropped. Here Palat carrying it over to Camille Henry. He's out for the first time in the game, number 8. Here Palat. To Chico Mackey. Back to Pierre Palat. Here he comes to center. Over to Bobby Hull. Knocked it through. Ken Lindsay back for it. Shoots it off the boards, but not out. Finally cleared out by Bruce McGregor. Here Palat going back for it. To Esposito. To Pierre Palat. Up to Esposito. With Chico Mackey on the right side. He goes into the corner. Comes from the side. Centered it. Esposito just missed it. Chico Mackey. A clearing pass over to Pierre Palat. Takes his shot. It hit McGregor. Went out and in again offside. 5 minutes 15 seconds remaining in the first period. 1-0 Detroit.
And this McGregor's really flying around there playing defensive hockey. He's saved the wings on a couple of occasions.
Face off outside the Detroit blue line. 1-0 in favor of the Red Wings. Bobby Hull shoots the puck in. Goes to the fireboard. Marcel Kronevold for Valfontaine. He gets it out. He laces after it. In McGregor. One man back. They're going in together. McGregor's in the clear. He shoots. Another shot. And he just failed to put it in the net. Back comes Bobby Hull. To center. Over the line. Back to Esposito. Off the boards to Camille Henry. He shot it around to Chico Mackey. Centered it and shot down the ice by Marcel Kronevold. Going back for it. Here, Palat. Waiting for Esposito and Warham. Warham out there now on the right side. Here, Palat to center ice. A pass over for Bobby Hull. Ullman stopped it. Here, Palat got his shot. Esposito after it. He fans on a drive. Gadsby fell in front of it. Scooped it, but not out. Bobby Hull is shot, and that's high. Esposito into the corner. To Camille Henry. Might have centered, he did, and Warham missed it. Shot off the board. And it's Howe and Fontaine, one man back. Fontaine closing in, back to Ullman. Ullman stopped. Right in front of Howe, he shoots. That hit Warham. Bobby Hull gets it. Here, Palat with him. Pass ahead to Howe. Howe checks him. Back over the line with Ullman. He missed the pass as Esposito covered him. Ullman trying to keep it in. Bobby Hull. Check, here's Howe and Ullman. Ullman closing in back to Howell. And he just failed to get a shot. Del Vecchio bearing it back for Marcel Kronevold. Around behind the net to Del Vecchio. Del Vecchio centered it. Right at Howell. Shoots. Goal! Now let's look at a replay of that goal.
Bill, I never saw Howe have so many chances before he put one in. Just before he scored, he had what appeared to be two setups, but he couldn't handle the puck. And there's a view of the old man down there on the side of the rink. You can see that sign over there on the opposite side, too.
Assisted by Del Vecchio and Kronevold.
The scoring play, Gordie Howe from Del Vecchio and Kronevold at 16:35. So it's been Ullman from Smith and Howe at 7:04. Howe from Del Vecchio and Kronevold at 16:35. It's Detroit 2, Chicago Blackhawks nothing.
You notice that Mr. Howe is taking his ease down there on the side of the rink. This is probably one of the few quiet moments he's going to have all night because Chicago is far from through. As a matter of fact, that first goal came with rather dramatic suddenness. Up to that point, I thought that Chicago had been carrying the play by a considerable margin. Then that man Ullman gets loose in front of the net. Remember, that's what happened in the last game we did here,
Right,
Bill.
yeah.
Chicago appeared to be having the best of it. Ullman came along and scored 2 goals in 5 seconds, and that was the name of the game.
Now then, referee Art Skov calls the teams to center ice. Del Vecchio, Packer McDonald, Gordie Howe. Haven't sent a defensive pair out yet. It's going to be Warren Godfrey and Marcel Kronevold and Fred Stanfield, Bill Hay, Eric Nestorenko, Matt Ravlich, and Al McNeil for Chicago. 2-0 the score in favor of Detroit. And from the face-off, it goes to Al McNeil. Cleared it ahead for Hay. Too far. It goes back to Warren Godfrey. Stanfield tried to check him. Hacker McDonald. Clearing pass. Goes after it himself. Checked by Nestorenko. Godfrey then lost to Stanfield and is picked up by Delvecchio. A long shot. Len Hall stopping it. Al McNeil back. McNeil to Ravlich. Ravlich coming down the left side. Tried to get loose. He couldn't. Gets it again. Handed to him over the line, and Delvecchio's there to take it away from him. Alex Delvecchio at the side of the Detroit goal. A long pass for Packer McDonald. Behind Howe. Hey. Right on to Packer McDonald's stick. McDonald. Over the Chicago line, and Ravlich gets in there. Howe skates in ahead of him and tried to back pass it. McNeil covers up to Hay. Hay coming up to center ice. Over the blue line, he takes through the defense, and Roger Crozier came well out to get it out to Howe. Howe at center. A backhand, and Al McNeil is there. He shot it off the glass out over the blue line, and there's Ted Lindsay, number 15. He takes a long shot. Glenn Hall caught it. A minute and 55 seconds remaining in the first period. 2-0 Detroit. Up the ice for Nestorenko. Back to Ravlich. Ravlich shooting it over the line. Stopped there by Murray Hall. Hall goes back down the ice for Detroit. Takes his shot, and Glenn Hall stopped it. Bill Hay, number 11, to Elmer Vasco. Behind the net, over to the far wing. Nestorenko shoots it down the ice, and Gadsby's back there for it, number 4. Over to Gary Bergman. Gary Bergman starting up now for the Red Wings. Takes a long shot into the corner. It ends up behind the net, stopped by Glenn Hall. Elmer Vasco. Right to Bruce McGregor, and it went over his stick. Dan Makita. To Pierre Palat. He shoots it into the corner. Crozier stops it there for Bruce McGregor. Less than a minute to go in the first period. Dan Makita. For Kenny Warm. He sent it at the moon. Crozier made the save. Makita back to Palat. There's his shot. It hit Palat on a rebound. And Lindsay gets it out over the line. Goes back to Vasco. To Palat. Takes another shot that Lindsay stops and shoots the length of the ice. Back for it is Vasco. Icing is the call. 27 seconds remaining in the first period. 2-0 Detroit.
They have them staggering again, but Chicago cannot put it in the net. At least they haven't been able to so far. I noticed there was a man standing right in front of the net that time, and Bill Gadsby obviously didn't see him, or possibly old Bill was just too tired to get to him. But if they'd ever got to cross the puck, it would have been hang up a cigar.
Jim, and on the face-off now in the Detroit zone to the left. Alman, Howe, Marcel Pronovo, Bill Gadsby, and Alex Delvecchio. Makita, Moans, Warham, Ravlich, and Al McNeil. Howe set to go. Howe cleared it right in front of his own net. Gadsby to Marcel Pronovo. Checked by Makita. Peter shot it. Crozier covered the short side. It's cleared into the crowd. And we'll have another face-off in the Detroit zone. This time to the right.
Please report to the main office. Joseph Manetta. Your attention, please. David Moblin. Please report to the main office. David Moblin.
18 seconds remaining in the first period. On the face-off, Howe cleared it but not out. Ravlich took his shot. Howe gets it. Brings it out over the blue line. Gets around Warham. Takes a backhand. Matt Ravlich knocking it down. Ravlich turning. Gets over the blue line. Takes a long shot. Stopped by Gadsby. And there goes the buzzer, and the first period is over. They score at the end of the first period. The Detroit Red Wings 2, the Chicago Blackhawks nothing. This half of tonight's game is brought to you by Imperial F period. It's 2-0 for Detroit. The puck is back in the Red Wing zone. It's clear to Packer McDonald right in front of his own net. Packer McDonald dumped Makita, and maybe a penalty here. Packer McDonald gets a penalty right to start the second period. And the Red Wings will be short-handed, and the time, we'll wait for the official time. It looks like 16 seconds.
Detroit penalty, McDonald, 2 minutes for hooking. The time, 16 seconds.
16 seconds, officially, a hooking penalty to Packer McDonald. Dan Makita, Kenny Worm, Doug Moon, Bill Hay, and Bobby Hull. Alex Del Vecchio, Gordie Howe, Bill Gadsby, and Marcel Pronovo for the Red Wings, who are leading 2-0. And, of course, my special guest tonight, Jim Coleman of the Tulsa newspapers. And, Jim, this puts the Red Wings in trouble.
Yes, and they're down at the wrong end of the ice, too, from their bench build-up. They have to make a change.
On the face-off, Dan Makita. A back pass to Bobby Hull. Passing it over for Moan. Back to Hay. It's tipped to the blue line. Del Vecchio getting it out of Gordie Howe. Nearly got loose. Bobby Hull to Bill Hay. Stopped by Marcel Pronovo and shot down to Glenn Hall. Bill Hay to Kenny Warham. Coming straight up the ice. The pass is in Makita. He tipped it. Warham is turned around. It goes to the boards. Del Vecchio gets it loose. Shooting it down the ice. Bobby held back for number 9. Here he comes. Out over the blue line, up to center. There's the shot, wide. Dan Makita moves in. He's checked by Del Vecchio. Del Vecchio hits Bobby Hull and then shoots it down the ice. Glenn Hall stops it there for Bill Hay. Hay now leading a 3-man rush. His pass, stopped by Gadsby. Gadsby getting away from Bobby Hull over the line with Hull. There's the shot. And that was stopped by Glenn Hall. Bobby Hull coming out over his own blue line to center. Shot it in. It ends up in the corner. Hull hit by Moan. Dan Makita back to Hay. Hay into Moan. Back to Makita. Makita behind the net trying to center it. Pronovo and Del Vecchio cover up. Moan missed Del Vecchio with a body check. Howe trying to get it out, does. Bones is hit by, or at least ran into Howe. And now it's Bobby Hull. To Hay. Over for Chico Mackey. Marcel Pronovo trying to clear it out. He does. And Packer McDonald back on the ice. Trying to cut in, takes his shot, and Glenn Hall caught it. And there's going to be a penalty here to Chicago. Bobby Hull.
Chicago penalty. Hull, 2 minutes for holding. The time.
A holding penalty at 2:29. The referee Art Scholes, number 4. The linesman Matt Pavlich, number 7. And John D'Amico, number 24. 5 penalties in the first period. 3 to Detroit and 2 to Chicago. And there's been 2 so far in the second period. 1 apiece. Detroit outshot Chicago in the first period, 13-7. Alman from Smith and Howe at 7:04. And Howe from Del Vecchio and Pronovo at 16:35 in the first period have been the scoring plays so far. Detroit leads 2-0. They'll now have a man advantage, playing 6 men to 5. And it's Ullman at center ice. Bruce McGregor on the left wing. Floyd Smith on the right. Howe and Del Vecchio at the defense. Playing inside the blue line. And for Chicago, it's Bill Hay, Matt Ravlich, Hal McNeil, and Eric Nestorenko. Then Hall and goal. Roger Crozier at the other end. And from the face-off, Ullman to McGregor. He passed it right to Nestorenko. Nestorenko races down the ice after it. Over the blue line. Trying to cut in. Does. Takes his shot. Crozier holds it out. Roger Crozier nearly went all the way back with his own momentum into the net.
Bill, I think two very underrated players have been the real stars of this series for Chicago, along with Bobby Hull. And one of them is Eric Nestorenko, and the other is Elmer Vesco, who had a terrible regular season, but has been playing extremely well in these playoffs.
Okay, Jim, and Paul Henderson, number 19, now comes out for the Red Wings. Giving Howell a rest. On the face-off, cleared behind the net, Bruce McGregor to Paul Henderson. Henderson over in the right wing to Smith, ahead to Ullman. Back to Henderson, takes a long shot, that's wide. Ravlich failing to get it out. It's against the boards, no further play. Al McNeil on the inside, and Paul Henderson was there, Matt Ravlich. And on the face-off in the Chicago zone to the left. Now there's Packer McDonald coming out. It's 2-0 Detroit at the 3-minute mark exactly of the second period. On the face-off, Floyd Smith back to Del Vecchio. His shot is going high, but it hits the glass, stays on the ice. Bruce McGregor, a back pass. Ravlich is in the corner. Two wing players are with him. Ullman poked it loose, but Al McNeil feeds it to Bill Hay. Hay shot it out to center ice. Packer McDonald stops it, gets back over the line, and shoots it into the corner. Nestorenko stopped by Smith. And Hay hits Del Vecchio. Floyd Smith is given a bump. Del Vecchio for Ullman. Ullman back to Packer McDonald. His shot right in front. Ullman still with it. Turns. Still has it. Right in front of McGregor. He just shot it off the target. Comes back to Packer McDonald. Into Ullman. There's his shot. And that's just Smith. Del Vecchio clears it around for Smith. Trying to center it. Renhall clears it out past Del Vecchio down the ice. Rogers out of the net, but leaves it as Del Vecchio gets back. Hull is still in the penalty box as Del Vecchio shoots the puck into the Chicago zone and hit the side of the net. Al McNeil lifts a high one on a backhand down the ice. Packer McDonald back for number 20. Turns at his own blue line. A pass intercepted by Nestorenko, who's ridden off. Gary Bergman comes back for Detroit. Hull is on the ice. Shot goes to the corner. Ravlich gets away from Henderson. Shoots it, but Gadsby keeps it in. A backhand over to this side into the corner. Fontaine gets the rebound off the board. A shot, and Ullman has it. Hermie Ullman back to Gary Bergman. His shot, and Ravlich played it out to center ice. Handed back to Fontaine. Shooting it into the Chicago zone. Renhall stopping it for Ravlich. Ahead to Hull. He couldn't control it. Bill Gadsby to Joyelle. And he was checked. Gary Bergman shoots it in. It hit Ravlich. Fontaine outside on the left wing as it went out and in again. This half of tonight's game is brought to you by Imperial Esso dealers, agents, and distributors.
With Esso oil heat, people, no wonder you have that nice warm feeling.
We have played 5 minutes and 11 seconds of the second period. It's 2-0 Detroit. Esposito coming out with Chico Mackey. Stopped by Fontaine. Back to Gadsby. Outside at the blue line. First hitting Esposito and then Chico Mackey. Esposito facing off with Joyelle. It goes high. Fontaine stopped by Palat. Chico Mackey with Esposito over the line. Chico Mackey shoots and Crozier caught it. Knocks it behind the net to Gary Bergman. To Paul Henderson, number 19. Up the right wing he goes to center. Takes a long shot. Ends up behind the net. Joyelle after it. Got it to the far wing. Bobby Hull. Clearing it right out of Bergman's stick, but he knocked it right to Pierre Palat. Palat leads a four-man rush. Over the line. Takes his shot, and it's stopped by Gadsby. To Joyelle. Coming down the ice at center, over the blue line, knocked down by Chico Mackey. Knocked out over the line, Bobby Howe after it. Missed a check from Bergman, over the line to Esposito. Esposito fakes a shot, then lets it go, and it's grabbed by Crozier.
Did you see old Bill Gadsby sliding around in front there? I think the stops in the first period were Crozier's 13, but that doesn't include about another 6 that Gadsby made. However, they sneaked that one under his arm.
Face-off will be in the circle to the right of Roger Crozier. We're at the 6:14 mark now of the second period. Detroit is leading 2-0. On the face-off, Gordie Howe. Gets back to McDonald. Howe missed a check from McNeil. Cleared into the Chicago zone. McNeil to Hay. Howe has locked his skate with McNeil. He centered it. Hit the side of the net, Del Vecchio. They still got their skate blocked. It goes up the center. They goes right on over the line. Offside. And now they're untangled.
That's when you need 2 cameras on the split screen. There were McNeil and Howe down behind the Chicago goal. Their skates hopelessly locked. And the play went right down the other end of the ice, but Art Skoll had no recourse. They had to let the play go on.
On the face-off, it's back to Marcel Pronovo. He backhands into the corner on the far side, and Warren Godfrey back to Marcel Pronovo. Pronovo shoots it off the board. Stopped by Nestorenko. Pronovo ties it again. Nestorenko went after it. Hay keeps it in with a backhand, and he whacked it right into the Chicago players' bench. Also into the fan, almost hitting the Chicago trainer. On the face-off, it goes to the far side. Warren Godfrey shooting it off Howe. Matt Ravlich taking it to Stanfield and Nestorenko. Nestorenko trying to cut in. He's covered by Packer McDonald, and there's a penalty to McDonald. Packer McDonald will get a penalty.
Bill, we haven't mentioned these Detroit casualties. One of the remarkable things about the fact that Detroit is leading Chicago by 2 goals in the 7th game is the fact that they're missing Doug Barkley, they're missing Ron Murphy, and they're missing Larry Jeffrey. Now, Barkley tried to skate before the opening of tonight's game, but obviously he couldn't get his stick up above his shoulder. Ron Murphy's out with a sore shoulder. And Larry Jeffrey has a recurrence of that back injury. You may remember a week ago last Sunday night, Hull ran over him on the far side. And although Jeffrey played subsequently, it's still that same old injury. I might say that Murphy is a fellow who got 20 goals during the season, and Doug Barkley was Detroit's leading defenseman with 5 goals and 20 assists. It's very tough losing 3 men of this caliber from your lineup.
Okay, Jim, we're all set for the face-off. We're at the 7:10 mark of the second period. 2-0 Detroit. There's Bobby Huller's shot. Roger Crozier made the save. Nestorenko tried to center it. Bill Gadsby covers up. Face-off will be in the Detroit zone to the left.
There's that Robert E. Lee with us again. I thought that boy with the horn might have left home, but obviously he's a good kid, and after tonight's game, he'll go out and burn down an orphanage.
Okay, we're all set for the face-off. In the Detroit zone. After it is Bill Hayes, beaten to it by Bill Gadsby. Then Marcel Pronovo makes sure by getting his skate on it. Gadsby's right in the thick of things again. Ted Lindsay, Bruce McGregor, Bill Gadsby, Marcel Pronovo. And for the Blackhawks, Bill Hay, Bobby Hull, Nestorenko, Makita, and McNeil. Hay drills it. Puck goes into the corner. There's going to be a penalty to Detroit again. It comes back to McNeil, over to Makita. Into Hay, it went too far. Nestorenko was hit hard. Howell shot it into the corner. They got 6 inside the blue line. A pass for Al McNeil. Up to Bobby Howell, back to Hay. Picked off by McGregor. Play is called, and there's going to be a penalty to Gadsby for elbowing.
There goes old Bill Gadsby, and he's been having a remarkable series, and the amazing thing is that he's only had 8 minutes in penalties in 7 games. I don't say he hasn't deserved more than 8 minutes, but that's all he's been given.
Ed Lindsay's going to get a misconduct penalty.
Detroit penalty. Lindsay, a 10-minute misconduct. The time, 7 minutes, 49 seconds.
Now the Red Wings, 2 men short, and Lindsay, a 10-minute misconduct.
Bill, I think this gives Lindsay the unchallenged title of the most penalized man in the history of the game. He always was in regular season play, but I think this brings him to 36 minutes in the playoffs so far, giving him 196 minutes. Now, Maurice Richard had the old record with 188, but Gordie Howe has passed him. Let's see where Howe is. Howe's got 18. It's a photo finish between Howe and Lindsay, but one of them might settle it before the series is over.
Okay, from the faceoff, Nestorenko back to Al McNeil. The Hawks with a 2-man advantage. Back to Nestorenko. He shoots it. That's deflects wide. Abby Howe gets it back to Al McNeil. Off the board, Sam Makita after it. Gets it back to McNeil again. There's the shot. Knocked down by Godfrey, but not out. Nestorenko off the board. Marcel Pronovo shoots it down the ice. The Hawks go back for it. They have a 2-man advantage. They're trailing 2-0. Tapped by Warren Godfrey. Godfrey and Howe. Godfrey holding it against the boards with Howe. Down goes Howe. Play is called. Hay, Nestorenko, Abby Howe, Dan Makita, and Al McNeil. Now Esposito comes out. Howe leaving the ice, very tired. Getting a tremendous hand. There he is, big number 9, Gordie Howe.
If Detroit hold them off this time, Bill, you'd have to say the curtain is coming down, because here is Chicago's big chance.
They've played 8 minutes and 36 seconds of the second period. 2-0 Detroit, and Chicago with a 2-man advantage. Sam Makita moving up over the red line to Chico Mackey. Shot it over the line, goes after it. Vecchio covers him. Marcel Pronovo saves it, but not out. Bobby Howe shoots. He's good. Bobby Howe rifled a real hot one. Now let's have a look at the replay of that goal.
Chicago goal scored by Hull unassisted. The time, 8 minutes, 52 seconds.
There's the leading scorer in the playoffs, Bill. Remarkable man. You saw earlier in the game where he nearly took Crozier's head off with one. Crozier moved but couldn't do anything with that.
8:52 was the time. Hull unassisted. Here come the Blackhawks in again. Crozier knocked it out to the side and slid down the ice. Chicago still have a 1-man advantage. 2-1 now for Detroit. Makita to Moan. Up for Chico Mackey with Esposito over the line. Chico Mackey stops. And it's cleared out and down the ice by Fontaine. Bobby Hull. A pass to Sam Makita. To Chico Mackey. To Esposito. Back to Bobby Hull. Up the center. Over the line on the left side. Passed it in front. But it's offside. Face-off will be outside the blue line. Right, short-handed. Chicago Blackhawks giving Bobby Hull a well-deserved rest. Red Stanfield, Nestorenko, and Bill Hay. Matt Ravlich, Al McNeil. Remy Elman, Bud Smith, Marcel Pronovo, and Warren Godfrey, number 23. And it comes back to Al McNeil. McNeil shot it to the fire wing. Shot off the boards by Marcel Pronovo. Matt Ravlich gets a hold of it. Tries a pass for Nestorenko. Gadsby's on the ice. Al McNeil shoots it in. Off the glass. Nestorenko moves up to Stanfield. Took his shot. Hey, that's one goal. And that hit Crozier. Ravlich clearing it back. Smith gets it out. Coming down the ice at center. Jumps on top of Al McNeil. Ullman digging it out to Godfrey. Right in on goal. They shoot. And that was stopped by Glenn Hall and shot down the ice. Back for it is Marcel Pronovo. To Bob Bilabo. He's checked. Nestorenko coming from the side and centered it out for Hay. Al McNeil is checked. Ullman is hooked. There's going to be a penalty there to McNeil. Hooking.
There goes McNeil. He hooked Ullman. Incidentally, on that last series of plays, the most recent series at the Detroit end, Bill, I'm quite sure that Crozier didn't see one shot that hit him there.
Chicago.
It hit him as he was staggering across the net.
2 minutes for holding. The time, 10 minutes, 42 seconds.
Half of tonight's game is brought to you by Imperial Esso, dealers, agents, and distributors.
Clean up paint with Varsol. Available at your Esso dealers, hardware, or supermarkets.
McNeil in the penalty box. And Detroit send Delvecchio, Howe, Packer McDonald, Smith, and Ullman.
Art Skov just had to go down there and have words with Billy Ray, the coach of the Chicago Blackhawks, who is still sizzling from that first period incident where Howe went off with a 2-minute penalty, and Ray thought that he should have 5.
On the face-off, Smith gets it back to Delvecchio over to Packer McDonald. Shoots it into the Chicago zone. It's behind the net. Glenn Hall out of there to Vasco. And Vasco puts the high one down the ice. Nestorenko is way offside. He was left it there, and Delvecchio comes back. Delvecchio coming down the ice to center. Shot it into the corner. Glenn Hall shoots it off the boards. Hay fails to get it out. Delvecchio trying to get it in front for Howe. It's cleared out over the blue line, and Packer McDonald has it there to Normie Ullman. Ullman to Smith. To Packer McDonald. He shot it over the line. Howe picks it up. Passed it right to Vasco, and Ullman moves in ahead of him. Tries a backhand. It goes to the boards. Vasco is checked. Ullman for Howe, and it's cleared out in front. And Hay on the left side shoots it down the ice. Hay is replaced by Chico Mackey as Delvecchio comes out. 2-1 Detroit. Delvecchio shoots the puck into the Chicago zone. Hall under the net. Shoots it off the boards. Nestorenko stopped by Howe. Packer McDonald shoved it, and Ramowitz gets a hold of it. Ramowitz away from Howe to center for Chico Mackey, and he just failed to get through. Stopped by Delvecchio, number 10. After Packer McDonald. Just spun around by Nestorenko. Back for Delvecchio. Over the line, Elman. And he tried to feed it to Delvecchio, and it went to Glenn Hall, and shot it off the board. Howe after it. Asco goes to the board. Elman covered him. Ramblitz shoved by Howe. Delvecchio gets it out, and it's cleared down the ice over Gadsby's stick. Roger Crozier stops it there for Gadsby, number 4. Back comes Gadsby. Blackhawks are back at full strength, and they're offside, the Red Wings, at the blue line.
Vasco made a big save down there when he got hold of Delvecchio, who was coming in on the left wing, Bill. Gadsby got in between between Delvecchio and the goalie and made the stop, and very immediately thereafter, he did an excellent piece of holding on Ullman's stick that went completely undetected.
Jim, 7 minutes and 10 seconds remaining in the second period. Detroit 2, Chicago 1. Alvin Smith and Howe at 7:04. Howe from Delvecchio and Pronovo at 16:35 of the first period. Howe unassisted at 8:52 of the second. Howe set to go. The teams are at full strength. Gary Bergman, number 18, shooting the puck into the Chicago zone. Stopped there. Al McNeil. Pass to Sam Makita. Over the blue line to center. Makita gets over the blue line. Warren is dumped by Bergman. Down the ice for Henderson. He takes a long shot. Glenn Hall steers it to the corner. Goes to Sam Makita. Back to Moans. Moans with Chico Mackey. Covered by Bergman. Tries to get it out in front, and Fontaine came from nowhere. Clears it, but McNeil keeps it in to Makita. Shot it right across the goal mouth. Here Palat moves up. Hit by Joyelle. Moans. Trying to get it loose. Henderson gets it out to Joyelle. For Henderson. And Fontaine. They're going in together. Fontaine cutting in. And he hit the top side of that net. Goes to Dan Makita up to center ice. Back for Henderson. Chico Mackey takes it away from him, but Moans, who's getting a stick, is offside. Exactly 6 minutes remaining in the second period.
Well, I wonder when they're going to get around to changing the position of the team benches in this particular rink. These are very awkwardly placed. They both should be between the blue line. Instead, they're both behind the blue line. There was a case where, as you say, Moans had to get a stick, which automatically put him offside on a good scoring chance.
Thanks, Jim, and we're all set for the face-off. It goes back to Marcel Pronovo over to Godfrey, who got it at center ice. Esposito lost it to Godfrey. Godfrey shooting the puck into the Chicago zone. Matt Ravlich behind the goal, being watched by Murray Hall, number 25. Ravlich tries it again to Bobby Howe. Murray Hall covering him. Bobby Howe still has possession. Got it off the boards for Esposito, and we're on the way to center ice, and Bruce McGregor's there for Marcel Pronovo to fire. Bob Dillabo bearing it right onto Al McNeil's stick. Ahead for Bobby Howe. He's checked by McGregor. It goes back into the Detroit zone. Then Marcel Pronovo clears it out. Murray Hall over for McGregor. Bobby Howe went after it, and Bob Dillabo's in ahead of him, number 24. Marcel Pronovo to McGregor. Stopped by Esposito. He tried to get it loose. Played back down the ice, and Ravlich to Al McNeil. Off the boards, Esposito. McGregor turning at center ice now for Detroit. He shoots it in. It goes to the corner. Bobby Howe jammed out of the play. Ravlich helps him out with a pass for Esposito. Esposito coming to center. Over the blue line. Still has it. Cuts in behind the net. Sending it right in front of Ravlich. He shoots. Oh, he shot it wide from point-blank range. Another shot. Rozier knocked it down. A shot by Detroit down the ice. Johnny McKenzie, number 18, out there for the first time in the game for Chicago. It's Ravlich. Intercepted by Del Vecchio. He shoots. Shot wide from 25 feet out. A long pass for McKenzie. Then Bobby Hull gets a hold of it. And Esposito offside. Bobby Hull was offside. Esposito put it in the net, but it was offside. This half of tonight's game is brought to you by Imperial Esso, dealers, agents, and distributors.
Driving at the happy motoring sign, get Esso quality every time. Look to Imperial for the best.
Fill in and win.
Kenny Warm has disappeared from the Chicago lineup. He wrenched his knee the last time he was out, and he has been taken into the dressing room where they're working it.
On the face-off, it's Del Vecchio to Howe. A long shot, and Howe let it go. Then shot it to the board. Masco brings it out. Pass for Stanfield, up to Hay. Hay takes his shot. Crozier caught it and drops it to Al Langlois. Ahead for Packer McDonald. Packer McDonald down the left wing, trying to get through Pierre Palat, and it's golfed high into the crowd. And play stopped, of course, and a face-off at the rim of the circle. 3 minutes and 30 seconds remaining in the second period. 2-1 Detroit.
Bill, I think I should clarify that penalty situation. Gordie Howe is still the leader with 204 minutes. Well-deserved honor, I might add, the way he plays. Lindsay is only second with 194 minutes.
Okay, Jim, and up the ice comes Pierre Palat, clearing it in. Nestorenko and Packer McDonald roughing along the board. Gadsby catches it, and it's icing called against the Blackhawks.
I may say, though, that in my opinion, this was a very stupid point at which Lindsay took a 10-minute misconduct penalty. In this game, Detroit needs everybody on the ice every time they can be out there. And he's sitting in the penalty box for 10 minutes is hurting his team.
Gary Bergman comes over the boards to replace Al Langlois. Then the face-off, Nestorenko clearing out over the blue line. Gadsby at center, flips it back, and it's offside as Del Vecchio was slow getting out. Now ready for the face-off. Comes over to the boards. Made by Gary Bergman into the Chicago zone. Pasco to Hay. Wraps it out for Red Stanfield. It tried to get down the left wing, but Gary Bergman makes sure of it by knocking it back to center ice. And it's Gordie Howe in his own zone. A pass for Bergman. Bergman's checked, and Gordie Howe goes back into his own zone. Shoots it out over the blue line, and Pasco taps it and shoots it right back in again. Crozier out of the net. Gadsby. Pass to Bergman. Up for Packer McDonald, Gordie Howe. To Packer McDonald, Del Vecchio. Stopped by Pierre Palat. Stopped by Packer McDonald, but it was a delayed whistle offside. Two minutes and 26 seconds remaining in the second period. Detroit 2, Chicago 1. Dan Makita, Nico Mackey, Doug Moans, Alman, Dillabo, and Floyd Smith. Al McNeil gets it out. Moans to Stan Makita. Takes a long shot off the boards. Crozier cleared it behind the net. Too far for Chico Mackey as it's cleared by Warren Godfrey. Up the center ice, and it was too high for Ullman. Goes down the ice. Matt Ravlich in his own zone. Passing it to Al McNeil. Up for Moans. Back to Makita at center. Back to Mones. He's in the clear. Going right in on goal. He shoots. Oh, he scores! Doug Mones ties it up. Now let's look at a replay of that goal. Doug Mones cutting in right from the left wing and going right in front of the net.
Chicago goal scored by Mones, assisted by Makita and McNeil. The time, 18 minutes, 9 seconds.
18:09, Mones, Makita, and McNeil. And it's all tied up 2-all. A long pass for Bob Dillable. He races after it. Plays. Whistle down. And the face-off will come back. Called by Matt Pavlich. It was offside. Rather a delayed whistle on the play, but I don't believe John D'Amico saw the sign from linesman Matt Pavlich. On the face-off, Alman, watched by Makita, to Marcel Pronovo. He's checked, down he goes. Bob Dillable clears it out. Matt Pavlich shooting it back in again. Crozier to Warren Godfrey. Off the boards to Smith. Smith ahead for Ullman, and Radlich is there. And McNeil turns. Now McNeil over to Makita. Makita closing in. There's the shot. And that was stopped by Crozier. Chico Mackey keeps it in with a shot. And Makita let it go by Smith. Watched by Moan. Marcel Pronovo picking it out for Detroit. To Bob Dillable, over the blue line, into the corner, centered it, and Mones has it. Ahead for Makita. Back to Mones. Over the blue line, closing in, he shoots. Crozier stops it, and it goes to Godfrey. Godfrey with 33 seconds, clears it out to center ice. Pierre Palat and Johnny McKenzie clear it in. Esposito lets it go to Bobby Hull. Bobby Hull takes his shot, and Crozier just got a piece of it. Godfrey to Smith. Up for Ullman, and it hit him on the leg. Pierre Palat. Right on to Marcel Pronovo's stick. Johnny McKenzie for Bobby Hull. 4 seconds. Bobby Hull closing right in on goal. And he just failed to cut in front. Marcel Pronovo shoots it down the ice. And there goes the buzzer to end the second period. And so the score at the end of the second. Chicago Blackhawks 2. Detroit Red Wings 2. Del Vecchio, Howe, Packer McDonald, Marcel Pronovo, and Bill Gadsby. Ted Stanfield, Bill Hay, Nestorenko, Palat, and Vasco. Vasco over to Hay. Hay takes a long shot. Wide of Crozier, who stops it to Marcel Pronovo. Pronovo to Gordie Howe. Howe, a pass back to Pronovo. Out over the blue line, a pass to Howe, and he shoots it back into the Chicago zone. Here's Del Vecchio's shot, and it goes to Nestorenko. Up for Hay off his skate. Picks it up at center ice. He ran into Stanfield, who went down, and Packer McDonald clears it for Howe. Howe down the right wing, stopped by Vasco. And it's Warren Godfrey. Behind the net. Starting out. A long pass for Del Vecchio, and it tips down the ice off his stick. Vasco going back forward. It's over the red line. He'll catch it, and that'll be icing. Played 54 seconds of the third period, a 2-all tie. Face-off in the circle to the left of Roger Crozier. Del Vecchio, the draw to Packer McDonald. Back to Marcel Pronovo behind the net. Stanfield after him. Marcel Pronovo with a pass to Godfrey. Godfrey out over the blue line to center. Up over the Chicago line, and it's tapped by Stanfield. He's checked by Packer McDonald. Palat and Del Vecchio collide. Gordie Howe comes up with it. Nestorenko watching him. It's played out over the blue line. Pronovo to Godfrey. A long shot knocked down by Palat. He's knocked down. Howell goes down. Del Vecchio trying to get in front. A pass. Hector McDonald missed it and goes out over the blue line. Bergman clearing it to an open wing. Got back into the Chicago zone. Van Hall stopping it for Palat. McNeil, Bowles, Makita. Dan Makita coming up the center. Takes a long shot. It bounces to Crozier, who catches it, leaves it for Packer McDonald. Packer McDonald. Shooting it off the glass for Smith. Too high. Al McNeil. For Chico Mackey. He ran into Bergman. Makita centered it across in front. It goes to the corner. Here's Mones trying to center it. Alman. Stopped by Makita. Makita centered it, and Chico Mackey couldn't reach it. Bergman staring at the Smith. Ahead to Alman. McGregor on his left. And it's stopped by Ravlich. Smith trying to get away for Alman, number 7. Shoots it into the Chicago zone, and Ravlich goes back for it. Ravlich watched by Smith. McGregor against the board. Makita moves in. It goes loose to Alman. He shoots. And that hit Van Hall and bounced over the net. Here's Smith for Alman. Covered by McNeil, who lost the stick. Ravlich off the boards for Johnny McKenzie. For Makita was behind him. He gets it over the line. McKenzie going after it. Bergman beat him to it. To Alman. For Smith. Alman and Hull up together. There's going to be a penalty here. Interference to Bobby Hull.
He really leaned on Alman then. You could see that.
Hull, 2 minutes for interference. The time, 3 minutes, 12 seconds.
You can see that one coming, and there's Billy Ray down behind the Chicago bench. He's not very happy, but after all, on the penalties tonight, that is only Chicago's 5th penalty. Detroit has had 6 minors and 1 10-minute misconduct. So I wouldn't say that Chicago's been getting any of the worst of it.
Okay, Jim, we're all set now. The Detroit Red Wings have a man advantage. 6 men to 5, and they have Ullman, Lindsay, Henderson, Del Vecchio, and Howe. Hay, Nestorenko, Ravlich, and McNeil. Nestorenko covered. Ullman to Gordie Howe. Howe back to Ullman over the blue line. Ullman centered it. Henderson missed it. Ken Lindsay in the corner. Shot it right in front. Ullman took a whack at it. McNeil leaned on him, and Nestorenko shot the puck down the ice as Del Vecchio had his stick broken. Gordie Howe is checked. Ullman again. Over to Del Vecchio. To Ullman, over the line, offside. Henderson and Lindsay both getting in on over the blue line ahead of the puck. Coming up to the 4-minute mark in 6 seconds. This game is coming to you direct from the Detroit Olympia.
How do you like your beer? Bright and clear like Molson Canadian. Switch to Molson Canadian. It's the friendly lager.
And just before we threw in that commercial, there was a picture of little Ted Lindsay skating around on left wing. And, of course, he has a lot to make up for, really. There's a Chicago bench. Great strategy meeting. Pierre Palat. There's Lindsay again now. And I imagine he's a great competitor. I imagine he's feeling a little upset over the manner in which his misconduct penalty cost Detroit so dearly, because while he was off during that 10 minutes, Chicago got both their goals. There's big Gordie Howe. Lindsay coming in to sit down beside him. There's Sid Abel behind the bench.
Well, Jim, while we have a moment, we can run over the scoring. In the first period, Ullman from Smith and Howe at 7:04. Howe from Del Vecchio and Pronovo at 16:35 in the first period. Detroit outshot Chicago 13-7 and led 2-0. There were 5 penalties, 3 to Detroit and 2 to Chicago. In the second period, Hull unassisted at 8:52, and Moen from Makita and McNeil at 18:09, and Chicago outshot Detroit 14-5. And there were 6 penalties in the second period, 4 of them to Detroit and 2 to Chicago, including the misconduct to Lindsay, and 1 penalty so far in this third period.
I see that Gordie Howe's sitting on a special little stool down there. This is what they call the superstar treatment. He doesn't have to sit on the bench. In the few occasions on which he has an opportunity to rest in this game, they have a little stool. It looks like a bar stool, I think, that they just shove out and squat down behind him. And he's sitting there just as pleased as Punch. I imagine he would feel a lot happier if it was all over and he was back in the dressing room. And this is turning into be a tough, tough series. They've gone 76 games, 2 periods, and how many minutes? And they're still tied.
All right, we're 6 seconds left, 4 minutes.
Yeah. 76 games, 2 periods, and 4 minutes, and they're still tied.
Jim, you still never had the explanation of why they turn the lights out on the clock when the play is stopped. They have the lights on when it's going, and you're not looking at it.
No, I'll have to find that one out. There are a lot of mysteries about this ring.
On the face-off, it goes back into the Detroit zone. Del Vecchio, number 10. The Red Wings have a man advantage. Here they come up. Del Vecchio will pass for Howe behind him. Del Vecchio picks it up himself. To Gordie Howe. Back to Del Vecchio. Over the line, but left the puck there, and it goes back. Gordie Howe now at his own blue line. Coming up to center ice. Shot it in. Ends up in the far corner. McNeil runs into Smith. Howman to Packer McDonald. His shot knocked out by Nestorenko. Nestorenko trying to get away. And Del Vecchio gets back to cover up. Del Vecchio. He's hooked by Nestorenko. Nestorenko goes after it. Packer McDonald picks it off. Packer McDonald got rid of it. Howe turns. Gordie Howe. Ran into Nestorenko. Gets over the blue line. Got it in behind the net. Howe and McNeil rough it up. Howman is knocked to the boards. Ravlich covers. Howe and McNeil still shoving. Howe was very quick with that stick there when McNeil pinned him against the board. That's one Chicago defenseman I'd say at the present moment has a mouthful of splinters. We're at the 5:10 mark now of the third period. Score is tied 2-2. Eddie Joyelle, number 21. Bruce McGregor is number 16. Ted Lindsay, 15. Ernie Howe is still in the penalty box. Godfrey in front of Nestorenko, Ravlich, McNeil, and Hay. Knox short-handed. All set to go. Referee Art Scholes drops the puck. McGregor covered by Hay against the boards. Falls down, and that ends the play. As Hull comes back out, as it's now 5 minutes and 15 seconds elapsed in this third period.
They held that one off pretty easily, too, Bill. I don't know whether Chicago is finally taking control, but Detroit really didn't threaten them.
On the face-off, it's cleared back. Warren Guthrie lost it. Bobby Hull races after it. Lindsay gets in to skate him off. Johnny McKenzie shoots it offside. Face-off will be outside the blue line. Esposito, Bobby Hull, Johnny McKenzie. Here, Palat and Elmer Vasco. It's Eddie Joyelle, Bruce McGregor, Ted Lindsay, Marcel Pronovo, and Warren Godfrey. Bobby Hull. Long pass for McKenzie. Over the line, offside. Esposito didn't wait long enough. Well, the face-off comes out to outside the Detroit blue line on the far wing. Referee Ed Scove, number 4. The linesman, Matt Pavlich, number 7. John D'Amico, number 24. And it's a 2-2 tie. Goes back to Pierre Palat. Off the boards. Rozier tipping it. for Godfrey. McGregor back to Godfrey and Pronovo. Pronovo behind the net. A pass to Godfrey. Stopped by Esposito for Bobby Howe. Right in front of McKenzie, and he couldn't get his shot. Marcel Pronovo shooting it down the ice. Here Palat. A pass to Bobby Howe. Howe goes over the blue line. Trying to cut in. Goes behind the net. Still has it. Turn. Centered it right in front. McKenzie getting set. He's checked by Joyelle. Eddie Joyelle for McGregor. Stopped by Palat. For Bobby Howe. Warren Godfrey breaks it up. Over the blue line. Godfrey waits. A back pass. Pass go to Howe. To Esposito. Back for Howe. Over the line. Howe closing in. He shoots. Oh, and that was slapped by Crozier on his glove.
He nearly put that one right through Crozier.
We've played 6 minutes and 36 seconds of the third period. It's a 2-2 tie. Gadsby facing off with Makita. Goes right to Crozier. He steered it to Gary Bergman. Bergman bringing it out now for Detroit. Up the center ice. A pass for Henderson. Ramlich gets back. Ramlich in the corner. Being watched. Moan to Makita. Back to Ramlich. Ramlich coming up the center ice. He shoots it in. Crozier catches it. Drops it. Shoots it into the corner. And Henderson has it for Detroit. A clearing pass for Fontaine. Henderson follows up the south. At center, over the blue line, and he didn't bring the puck in with him, and Gillibo did, but it was outside.
Still, one group of Canadians who will be watching this game with consuming interest will be the Montreal Canadiens. And I don't think Toe Blake makes any bones of the fact that he'd prefer that Canadiens play Detroit in the final, play Chicago, rather. They had a much easier time against Chicago during the regular season than they had against Detroit. And incidentally, Canadiens and Detroit have met 4 times in the Stanley Cup Finals, and Detroit has won on 3 of those occasions.
On the face-off, Gary Bergman to Bill Gadsby. Stopped by Bobby Howe over the blue line. He's knocked down. Esposito goes after it. He's ridden off into the boards. Bobby Howe ran into Henderson. Back to Al McNeil. Henderson ran into McNeil. Warren trying to center it. It's behind the Detroit net, and Bergman covers up.
The whole Chicago bench was up then, Bill. They were all up screaming as they swarmed around the net.
This game is coming to you direct from the Detroit Olympia.
How about a Molson Canadian after the game?
Great. That's my lager beer.
You try it. You'll like it, too.
Face-off in the Detroit zone to the left. Delvecchio, Howe, Packer, McDonald, Marcel Pronovo, Warren Godfrey. For the Blackhawks, Bill Hay, Eric Nestorenko, Fred Stanfield, Al McNeil, and Matt Ravlich. Roger Crozier quickly adjusting his equipment.
You don't break an eagle, you're 1 goal in front.
All ready to go. Delvecchio facing off with Stanfield. He got the draw back to Pronovo. Pronovo coming out now for the Red Wings. Leading it for main rush to center right. Over the red line. A pass for Howe, and it was behind him as McNeil ran into Pronovo. Shot in wide of the Chicago net. Nestorenko back for it. Trying to bring it out. Delvecchio tries to get it loose. Lamlet shot it, but not out. Cody Howe from behind the net. Still has it. Centered it, and it's played down the ice by McNeil, who just golfed it in midair. Godfrey catches it, icing against the Blackhawks. We've now played 8 minutes and 18 seconds of the third period, a 2-2 tie.
Tension is a vastly overused word, you know, in Stanley Cup playoffs. But really, quite seriously, you can feel it here tonight.
Now set for the face-off in the Chicago zone to the left. Del Vecchio fights the back of McDonald, and he shot it down the ice and attempting to pass it to Howe. Godfrey's back for it, number 23 behind the net. Godfrey. Pass to Marcel Pronovo. Coming up the center. Tried to go through. Basco stopped him and knocked the puck back to the Detroit defense. Back to McDonald. Pass for Howe. Basco to Hayes. For Nestorenko. Into the Detroit zone. Back to McDonald. Covered by Nestorenko. He tried to slip it in from the side. It goes behind the net. Godfrey. Ball. Pronovo. A pass. Stanfield keeping it in with Nestorenko. Stanfield centered it right in front. Basco. Over to Pierre Pilat. There's the shot. That's wide. Crozier knocked it back. Stanfield hit by Howe. Howe and Stanfield. Gordie Howe getting a hold of it. A long pass for Del Vecchio. Del Vecchio with Lindsay and Howe. Howe getting around Nestorenko. Lindsay was outside. Lindsay cutting in ahead of him. Score is tied, 2-2. At the 9:28 mark of this third period. On the faceoff, Basco to Makita to Moon. Over the blue line, Moon cutting in. Takes his shot across the goal mouth. Chico Mackey a shot. Makita right in. She scores! Makita scores for Chicago. Now let's have a look at the replay of that goal.
Well, they tell me that the Scooter line hasn't been playing very well in this series, but Makita still is the second highest scorer on the Chicago team.
On the faceoff, it's back in the Chicago zone. It's cleared out. Along the board, Smith brings it back for Detroit. Closing in. Past Elman, he shoots. That was stopped by Glenn Hall. Bill Gadsby takes a shot, and that comes over to Bergman. A shot. Glenn Hall stopped it. Makita for Mackey and Moens at 9:42. And it's cleared to Chicago at the 10:06 mark of the third period now.
Detroit hasn't quit, though. They came flaming right back after that one. They've been outplayed by Chicago since about midway point in the second period, but now they're making a final big effort. And you had a great illustration there of just how dangerous Ullman is. The play seemed to be getting nowhere, and he suddenly let one go, and it went whizzing by the corner of the net just as easily could have gone in.
Ullman, Floyd Smith, Ted Lindsay, Bill Gadsby, and Gary Bergman. Dan Makita, Chico Mackey, Doug Moen. Lindsay shot it. Ravlich goes after it. Ravlich trying to bring it out. Lindsay kept him in there. Ravlich behind the net. Shoots it around on the boards for Chico Mackey. Clears it down the ice. Lindsay going back for it with Makita. They go after it. It was touched by Makita. No, it wasn't. They're going to call it on a delay. And Makita has his skate caught in the mesh. Was whacking his stick around. He's claiming that he touched it. They had to wait to see whether the linesman was going to put his arm up or not, and he finally did, and when the Detroit player touched it, it was icing. Chicago 3, Detroit 2 at the 10:26 mark of the third period.
I did a slight injustice to Chico Mackey there, Bill, by saying that Makita had become the second leading scorer. Actually, Mackey has one more point, 8 compared with 6 for Makita, although Makita has 3 goals to Mackey's 2.
And Makita's over at the Chicago bench talking to Billy Ray. Now he comes back again as Art Scoven over there to make sure they get back in a hurry. And from the face-off, it comes back to Gary Bergman. There's a shot, and that hits Makita. Mones goes up with him, along with Chico Mackey, who takes the pass back to Mones. There's a shot. Gadsby fell in front of it. Ullman trying to get away. Too well covered. Makita takes his shot across the goal mouth. McNeil moves up. Makita went down after being hit by Bergman. Gadsby ahead to Ullman too far. Ravlich shoots it off the board, and Gadsby goes back for it. Bill Gadsby ahead to Bergman. Bergman going up the center. A pass to Ullman. They're over the line. Pouring in. Here's McGregor. A shot. And that was stopped by Glenn Hall. Ullman is knocked down by Moon. Played out over the blue line. And backboard is Gadsby. Shot it over to Bergman. To McGregor. McGregor trying to get away. Over the blue line. Ullman. Bobby Hull stopped him. Shot it out. Warham is covered. Marcel Pronovo coming back for Detroit. Over the blue line, tried to go through, and Bobby Hull is there. Hull trying to get away in the right wing. Ullman checked him. At Dillabo, cleared it right on to Pierre Polotsik. To Esposito for Bobby Hull too far. Marcel Pronovo. Up to Fontaine. Ahead for Ullman. And he didn't see it. Now it's Detroit again with McGregor clearing it in and Palat knocking it out. Played back into the Chicago zone. Shot by Palat. Up to Bobby Hull. Esposito with it. Over the line. Bobby Hull falls. McGregor clearing it out. Vasco gets it out of skate. Esposito waiting for Bobby Hull to get onside. And Gordie Howe's out there now for Detroit. Here he turns at his own blue line. Coming straight up the ice at center. Over the blue line, he's hit by Pierre Palat. Elmer Vasco lifts it, but not out. It comes to Marcel Pronovo. There's the shot. Right to Val Fontaine, and his shot is wide. Gordie Howe with it. Gordie Howe turns the shot. It hit Palat. Vasco shoots it off to Bobby Hull, number 9. Here he comes down the ice. A long shot. Rozier missed it, but it was high. Eddie Joyelle, watched by Fred Stanfield. Isle tried to nail him with a body check. Bill Hay takes a shot. Crozier stopped that. 6 minutes and 55 seconds remaining in regulation time. It's 3-2 for Chicago. Shot goes into the glass, into the corner to Hay. He centered it right for the blue line. Ravlich, Nestorenko to Stanfield. His shot was stopped. Marcel Pronovo to Joyelle. Covered by Ravlich. Then Fontaine down the ice at center. Over the line. Joyelle follows through, and it's called offside. Six minutes and 31 seconds remaining in regulation time. Ullman in the first period, and Howe made it 2-0 Detroit. Then Hull and Mones in the second period, a 2-all tie, and now Makita in the third period from Mackey and Mones at 9:42, 3-2 the score in favor of the Blackhawks. Face-off is outside the blue line. Del Vecchio, Henderson, Dr. McDonald. Hawks making a change. Nestorenko, Stanfield, Hull, McNeil, and Ravlich. Goes back into the Chicago zone. Al McNeil shooting it out the center. Bill Gadsby waiting for Del Vecchio to get onside. Shot it into the Blackhawk zone. Ravlich back there for it. Ravlich bringing it out. Got it to the blue line. Gadsby kept it in. Del Vecchio is standing in front of the net. Al McNeil shooting it to Stanfield. He gets it up for Nestorenko, and he knocks it the rest of the way into the Detroit zone. 6 minutes and 3 seconds remaining in regulation time. A long pass for Del Vecchio. Back for Henderson. Henderson was checked. Bobby Hull goes back into his own zone, pulling away from Del Vecchio. Heading up to center ice. Over the blue line. Going right through. There's the center. Scores! Nestorenko scores for Chicago. A Let's look at the replay of that one. Eric Nestorenko and Bobby Hull.
Hull was really flying on that one. Don't forget this is the last part of the third period and the speed at which he's been going all night. I believe that earlier in the game I remarked that on the excellent play of Nestorenko and Elmer Vasco on this series. Bobby, of course, made all that play. He was running interference, and Nestor just came in behind him. He is playing great series. I always remember they used to call him the Albatross because he was always around somebody's neck.
On the face-off, Gadsby ahead to Henderson. Henderson over the line for Del Vecchio. Bergman moves up, but it's knocked out over the blue line. Gadsby chopping at it. It hopped over Warham's stick. Bobby Hull with it. Del Vecchio takes him to the board. He hit the linesman. Tries it again, knocked it in offside with Warham inside the blue line. Chicago Blackhawks 4. Detroit Red Wings 2. This game is coming to you direct from the Detroit Olympia.
I like Canadian lager beer.
I'm for export ale.
Canadian.
Export.
I know. We can get both in Molson Pleasure Pack.
5 minutes, 21 seconds remaining in the third period. 4-2 Chicago. And Makita knocking it. Lindsay giving it to Howe, to Marcel Pronovo. He handed it right to Chico Mackey. It's in front. Ullman getting it to Smith. Roy Smith ahead to Lindsay. Back to Ullman. He shot it into the Chicago zone, and going back for it is Bones. Smith in there first, right in front of the net, and Ullman couldn't reach it. And Makita bearing it out to center ice. Ullman after it. Shot right back into the Chicago zone. Glenn Hall to Al McNeil. To Doug Moan. Stopped by Howell. That shot goes high into the crowd. Four minutes, 45 seconds remaining in regulation time.
And as the minutes fade, Bill, there goes another chance for old Bill Gadsby. 19 years in the league and never with a winner, unless the Red Wings at this moment erupt and pull off a miracle.
Alman, Lindsay, Smith, Marcel Pronovo, Gordie Howe. Makita, Chico Mackey, and Moan. Shot went into the crowd. Al McNeil and Ravlich. On the faceoff, Gordie Howe has shot it, hit Ravlich. Racing after it is Lindsay. Al McNeil tries to get it out. Makita clearing it, but Ullman is there. Ullman turned, shot it right back into the Chicago zone, and it's Al McNeil clearing it, but not out. Gordie Howe tried to keep it in. Ullman does, then Moon takes it away from him. Ahead to Makita, going in with Chico Mackey, and it was behind him as Marcel Pronovo now feeds Ullman. Ullman down the ice with Howe over the line. Into the corner. Howe is skated off. It goes loose behind the net. Here Palat, covered by Howe. Palat trying to get it out. Ullman trying to get it loose. It's shot off the boards, but not out. Out to Smith. His shot is flat. Play is called. And Ullman goes down. Bones knocking him down.
Lindsay went down trying to hook Palat.
This game is coming to you direct from the Detroit Olympia.
Big in flavor, big in popularity, biggest in sales. The big ale in the big land, Molson Export Ale.
Three minutes and 51 seconds remaining in the third period. 4-2, Chicago. Face off in the circle to the left of Glenn Hall. It goes to Elmer Vasco. Behind the net to the far side. Laid it around on the board. Warham getting it out for Esposito. Over his stick on Alex Del Vecchio. To Eddie Joyelle. To Bruce McGregor. He flips it in. Bouncing shot. Glenn Hall caught it. Here Palat back for it. Got it off the boards, but not out. Del Vecchio is shot. Right on to Pierre Pilat's stick. He clears it down the ice. Warren goes after it at offside. And the faceoff comes back. Three minutes, 24 seconds remaining in the third period. Esposito, Howell, Warren, Palat, and Vasco. Fontaine, McGregor, Dillabo, Del Vecchio, Joyelle. A long shot knocked down by Palat. Palat gets it out and down the ice. It hit Joyelle's stick. The play will go right on. Joyelle getting away from Warren. A pass for Fontaine. Checked by Bobby Hull. Bobby Hull right to Esposito. Bobby Hull shoots. Oh, and he shot it past the goal post. Back down the ice for Joyelle. Over to Fontaine. Centered it. Vasco knocked it into the boards. Bobby Hull. Back for Vasco. 2 minutes and 45 seconds remaining in the third period. Bobby Hull. Checked by Del Vecchio. Bobby Hull back. McGregor bumps into him. Hamlet. Off the boards and hit the referees. Got it again. Kept in by Dillabo, then Ravlich picks it off. Up with Bobby Hull and takes the pass over the line. And he is stopped by Joyelle. Joyelle coming back. A pass to McGregor. And he couldn't go around McNeil. Ravlich. Up to Esposito. Ahead to Bobby Hull, one man back. Bobby Hull shoots and he's got it 5 feet wide. Ravlich brings it in. Into the corner. Trying to center it. Did. Oh, and Bobby Hull shot it wide in the open corner. Lloyd Smith to Gordie Howe. At center. Over the blue line. Howe to Joyelle. Joyelle trying to center it. Nestorenko covered by Lindsay. It's against the board. Play is called, and there'll be a face-off in the circle to the right of Glenn Hall.
And for 2 or 3 minutes there, Bill, Detroit was playing with 5 forwards in an attempt to get something going.
A minute and 48 seconds remaining in regulation time.
Marcel Pronovo's out there now, but he appears to be coming off. They're going to go with 5 forwards again.
Alman, Henderson, Howe, Lindsay. Now then Bergman comes over the board.
There's the broken equipment, I told you, but it's usually when you're 1 goal in front. He's 2 in front. Suddenly his lingerie is slipping. Lasts all season till they get in a tight spot, and then it goes. It's the tension.
Yep.
These things aren't perspiration resistant, I guess.
The Red Wings have Ullman, Henderson, Lindsay, Del Vecchio, and Howe. Chicago with Nestorenko, Bones, Hay, Vasco, and Palat. All ready to go. On the face-off, it comes back to Del Vecchio. There's a shot. That's wide. It's picked off by Palat. He's knocked down by Lindsay. Howe keeps it into Henderson. His shot is wide. Del Vecchio takes a whack at it. It's knocked out to center ice by Nestorenko's glove. Hay getting over the line with Moans. They're closing in. Hay shoots. And he just shot it wide. Sent it out in front again, and Howe's got it. Gordie Howe. A long pass, stopped by Palat. Shoots it right back in again. Del Vecchio stopping it with 1 minute and 15 seconds remaining in regulation time. Del Vecchio ahead to Henderson. Henderson at center. Got it into the Chicago zone. Nestorenko back. Cleared it off the glass. Howe stops it. There goes his shot. Del Vecchio is shot, and he shot it wide. Hey, gets a hold of it. Less than a minute to go. Doug Bones, that's center ice. Back to Vasco. A long shot. Crozier counted and threw it to Del Vecchio. To Henderson. Up the center. Takes a long shot. That's wide. It came out in front. Glenn Hall. Behind the net for Ravlich to Chico Mackey's check. There's a shot by Henderson. Allman can't get a hold of it. Vasco has it. Vasco Pass to Bobby Hull. He lost it. 18 seconds left in regulation time. 42 Chicago. Vasco back to his own blue line. Over to Ravlich. Ravlich shoots it out. Lindsay stops it. Clearing it to Ullman. Over the blue line to McGregor. He tried to pass, but Ullman gets a shot to Lindsay. And he couldn't get a shot. And there goes the buzzer. The game is over. And the Chicago Blackhawks have defeated the Detroit Red Wings 4-2, winning the 7th and deciding game of the Stanley Cup semifinals, earning the right to meet the Montreal Canadiens in the Stanley Cup finals. It was 2-0 Detroit into the first period. A 2-2 tie in the second. Nikita won it from Mackey and Moans at 9:42. Nesterenko from Hull at 14:15. Now then, the Red Wings go out to shake hands with the Blackhawks, who came from behind a 2-goal deficit in the first period to score 4 unanswered goals, 2 in the second period and 2 in the third. And there you see them congratulating the Red Wings, congratulating the Chicago Blackhawks, who now move into the Stanley Cup Finals against the Montreal Canadiens. And what a series that will be.